Hi, I'm Andy Temte. Welcome to the Saturday Morning Muse. Start your weekend with me by exploring topics that span leadership, business management, education, and other musings designed to support your journey of personal and professional continuous improvement. Today is December the 14th, 2024. This morning, I'm going to read an excerpt from my first book, Balancing Act: Teach, Coach, Mentor, and Inspire. The point of today's muse is to shine a bright light on our responsibility as leaders to hone the skills of self-awareness and engaging in challenging conversations. So, here's the excerpt. I'm a boater and have been plying the waters of the upper Mississippi River since I was a boy. One of the most important lessons you learn as a boater is that you are responsible for your own wake. Now, if you don't know what the wake is, it's essentially the pattern of waves that come off the back of the boat as you travel through the water. The wake you throw off depends on the size, weight, and speed of your vessel. The waves that your boat generates can damage the environment, destroy property, and cause personal injury. Therefore, as an experienced boater, you are constantly evaluating your surroundings and anticipating the impact that your wake will have on other boaters and the shoreline. On balance, boaters are a curiously courteous and helpful group of people. On the water, people wave at total strangers as if they're best friends, and they look out for one another when they find someone in distress. This makes sense when you realize that any body of water can turn from idyllic to treacherous in the blink of an eye. The wake that your boat creates is an integral part of the ecosystem and can be quite damaging if not managed carefully. Now, one day, we're enjoying a beautiful Sunday afternoon on the Mississippi River with a few of our friends and family, including my wife's then 101-year-old grandmother. And yes, she actually lived to 104. Our boat was classified at the time as a cruiser, which is basically a motorhome that floats. As we were putting along at a slow speed, a larger vessel approached from our stern at full speed and was throwing off a gigantic wake. It passed me with just about 75 feet of clearance on our starboard or right side of the boat, leaving me no time to course correct or prepare for the impact of its wake. Our boat rocked violently, sending appetizers and grandmother flying. Now, fortunately, no one was injured and no damage was caused, but it could have been much worse. If it had been, both the pilot and the owner of the other boat would have been directly accountable for any damage that occurred. Now, a boat's wake is a temporary but potentially powerful reminder of its presence on the water. The bigger the boat, the greater the level of responsibility that the captain bears. Here's the point for leadership. Leaders at all levels leave a wake as they interact with the organization. The higher up you are in the company, the bigger the wake you throw off. It's your responsibility to be aware of your hypothetical wake and the impact that it could have on individuals and teams, both within your immediate surroundings as well as further downstream. Most experienced leaders will immediately connect with the point of this parable. If you are an experienced leader, I'm sure you can recall times where something you did or said inadvertently had a lasting negative impact on a team or team member. You likely learned from that experience and vowed to improve your level of self-awareness of the impact that you have on others. However, there are those senior managers whose egos and lack of behavioral training limit their ability to understand how their wake impacts their surroundings. These managers likely reached their level in the organization based on technical expertise, but never invested themselves in grooming their emotional intelligence skill set. The best managers continually optimize the balance between their technical and their behavioral skills. They have a keen understanding of their surroundings and the impact that they can have on others. High-performing leaders also carefully balance their views as they look into the future by ensuring that previous decisions and interactions have not had unintended negative consequences on their environment. Now, think of your role as a manager or an influencer in the business. You are responsible for a team and are in a position of authority. Now, imagine the impact that a few carelessly uttered words can have on your colleagues. Whether you like it or not, your voice is loud and it leaves a powerful wake. As you speak, those around you will pick apart your words for context and subcontext. Now, let's step away from the story for just a moment. I have personally experienced that issue. I have had former employees come up to me years after the fact and tell me about the impact that something I said to them had on them and their careers. I don't remember that conversation at all. And to me, it was not an important experience. It did not make its way into my working memory and my lasting memory. So now I want you to apply the concept of this leadership wake that we all have as leaders to the need to engage in challenging conversations. So let's get back to the story. Some of your key roles as a leader are to teach, coach, mentor, and inspire teams. Others are to assess talent and provide constructive feedback to your team members so that they can one day surpass you. As an influencer, you walk a very fine line. You need to find a balance that allows you to judge without being judgmental and to criticize constructively. Sometimes you need to take control of a situation and be that smartest person in the room, but it's much harder and potentially more rewarding to help others develop and grow by allowing them to shine. To minimize the risk of inadvertently hurting your work partners with your words, it's important to provide them with regular and consistent coaching and feedback. Unfortunately, those who have put little effort into developing skills like emotional intelligence and effective communication will likely struggle with this quintessential managerial function. Now, challenging conversations are called challenging conversations for a reason. A feedback session can be difficult for both the sender and the receiver. To make these conversations less challenging, make the time to provide coaching and feedback more often, optimally within the flow of the work environment. If you're waiting around for the annual performance review to provide feedback, anxiety will build on both sides. The sender will do a less than effective job of providing feedback, and the receiver will likely be so nervous that they hear very little of what's being said. When you provide feedback more often, the receiver will digest it more readily, and you'll do a better job as a sender because it will feel more natural to do so. If you're well-balanced, objective, and data-driven, a coaching or feedback session is likely to go much better for both parties. Now, it's incumbent on leaders to create opportunities for personal and professional development for their team members. Nothing says I care more than developing another human being and seeing them learn and grow. If you create learning opportunities for your team, both formal and informal, it will pay dividends for both individual and team performance for years to come. Make sure that you speak the truth in your constructive criticism and follow it up with action to help the recipient get better. So, there you have it, an excerpt from Balancing Act Teach, Coach, Mentor, Inspire. The book is available on Amazon today. I implore you to pick up a copy for both yourself and your colleagues. My name is Andy Tempty. This is the Saturday Morning Muse. You can find us on all the major streaming services. Please like, subscribe, rate, and most importantly, share this public good with your colleagues. The show is produced by Nicholas Tempty. We'll see you next time on the Saturday Morning Muse.